because the microphone is off. Okay, well, yeah. So on Discord, I did write down a few questions to myself. Namely, can I hide this? No. Well, the main question that I didn't answer yet is what do I need to store per bound shader resource so that I can reconstruct the descriptor set layout key. And the answer to that would be, I think, something like the used set index hint and the layout key that is being used. That was used for that particular layout that the shader resource is using. And that then would happen somewhere here. Here we bind the shader resource to a descriptor set. And then I want to store to it. So I'm going to get something like shader resource. Also, always difficult to think of a name. A function that stores whatever I need to reconstruct the descriptor set layout key. It's either going to be a sentence or unclear. I did find a set layout, which I think contains both. Set layout has a type set layout, which contains the set index hint indeed and the key. And also the handle to the layout, although I'm not going to need that. Unfortunately, I cannot just store a set layout pointer because the set layouts are stored in the shader input data, which might be destructed by the time I need it again. What is the size of this set layout? Is it not too big? I don't know what happened. This keyboard it's a wireless keyboard. Sometimes it does really weird things. I added something here. Shader resource something. Set layout. Well, it's not small, contains a complete factor. set index hint is definitely small-ish. This one too. Yeah, and the vector is maybe not that large either. It's just a pointer to something that was memory allocated. To be honest, I don't know how large the vector is. It's finding it in sort of descriptor set layouts, which is just another vector. I guess I could make this store shared pointers to the set layouts. Then I can keep it alive. Either that or I have to copy it. I really hate smart pointers. Where's that thing all reused? Good. Just looking around a bit to see if I get some inspiration. It is finding it in iter first. Sounds like a key. What is iter here? Iter is a read access to pipeline layouts, which is a member, a thread safe member even, of logical device that has a certain lifetime that I can use. So this pipeline layouts type is a thread safe wrapper around pipeline layouts container type, which is a map using pipeline layouts container key type as a key, which exists of a pair where the first element of the pair is our sorted set layouts container, which is redefined here apparently. That is buried very deep, but it does have the right lifetime. So can I find that back? Let me think. Let me think. So it's a part of the key of this container and pipeline layouts, which is not really stored yet, I think. So you only store it here. Try and place key, where key is then the pair made from the realized descriptor set layouts. Which are being passed to the realized pipeline layouts, which, if you ask me, is called after where we are. Or not. We are here inside this function call. And the realized pipeline layout is done before that. Well, then we should be able to use it. Okay, well, let's assume that we can use it. Let it crash if it isn't the case. Then now I have the almost impossible task to find it back in this container. Oh. Oh, indeed. Realized pipeline layout is doing the following thing. So I could read log this thing here again, and then I can run over all of it by brute force and find the thing that I need. How about that idea? There is no other option, I'm afraid, because it is ordered by... actually, there is a way. There must be a way, but why does it always have to be so beep complex? I think there is a way. Okay, I'm just going to do the deep dive thing. So what we want is to find a lower and an upper bound in this map given by the thing that we're looking for and some comparator that I still have to write in, which is going to ignore the push constant ranges. That of course then only works if the push constant ranges are I don't know the word for that. The minor sorting order thing, or determine the. So roughly, it's must be ordered by the descriptor set layouts then, and then within a given descriptor set layout, we have another ordering based on the sorted push constant ranges. Well, this ordering is determined by probably the type of this map, which is this, which is using utils pair compare. So then pair compare must be ordering first on set layout compare and then on push constant compare, range compare. That's the first demand. Let's see if it does this. First compare, second compare. First compare compares first, and if equal, return the compare of the second. Okay, that's exactly what I want. Then I'm going to need a member function to this class, the logical device. I'm just going to add it here and then move it to some public area later. It's going to return a reference, because that was the whole point, to a descriptor set layout. Usually I use a get when it involves a little bit of CPU. Could also use find maybe, but and then we pass another set layout. Also by cons reference. Okay, let's call this one canonical then. Get canonical set layout from a given set layout. Not making any changes, so it is a const member function. There is nothing to show. It's all code. Thomas. Well, there's a triangle for this application, but it's just a little test thing that is testing some stuff. Nothing really graphical. Certainly not impressive graphical. Right, so what this thing has to do is we must we must find a lower and an upper bound, which I only vaguely remember might be possible. At the very least, I'm going to need access to this thing, because that contains our set layout. I'm not Google. Yeah, sorry. You're the 50th person that asks what is a vulkan angel. Starting to get tired of it. And pipeline layouts. So I need read access. That gives me read access. Now this is our map, at least this is a pointer to our map. That is that thing, which is a map. And now I don't know, but it is something with map and upper and lower bound, right? So maybe I can find that back in with Google how that is done, and otherwise I have to ask it on RSC, for example. Now people know I'm looking for a chess club. Google, what are you doing with my privacy? What was I looking for? By starting to code. Brad Guy. My previous stream is more suitable for someone who just started. I'm writing an application there from very scratch. Takes 4.5 hours, but then you start from nothing and you end up with something that works. Okay, I'm looking for, standard map. And then maybe find upper and lower bounds, range, I don't know. Here's a low bound thingy, but it's on the wrong side. I really don't want to use that. Here we have a lower bound. Standard map, lower bounds. Returns an iterator pointing to the first element that is not less than a greater or equal key. Now, that is great, but I want to have the upper bound as well. Well, there is an upper bound, so nothing that returns upper and lower bound at once. Upper bound returns iterator point to the first element that is greater than key. I can search for examples maybe. Equal range. How about that? I clicked on it, but nothing happened. Yeah. Where is it? Upper bound, yeah. Equal range. Nothing. Okay. Probably this page. Yeah, equal range. Yes, exactly what we want. I hope. 1, 2 compares the keys to keys. That doesn't explain anything. It returns a range containing all elements with the given key in the container. That is exactly what I want, right? The range is defined by 2 iterators. One pointing to the first element that is not less than key, and another pointing to the first element that is greater than key. Alternatively, the first iterator may be obtained with lower bound and the second with upper bound. So this is what I was looking for, equal range. However, I need an equal range with a predicate. Yeah, well, it's missing basically, but maybe you can work around this. So let's assume I can call equal range on the map. So that's going to be equal range. And then we have to pass some key. And this is going to return a pair. So let's call that range. That's a pair with 2 iterators. Now the key must be the same type as the key of the map, of course. So this is going to be that type. Let's spell that out. Key is this type, and that type is already given here. It's a pair existing of a vector of set layouts. Definitely not what I wanted. This is not going to work unless I can pass a predicate. Which means I'll have to write my own equal algorithm. Or misschien, why am I switching to Dutch lately? Maybe maybe this upper and lower bound have a predicate. Yes, they do. Can I have a compare? No, this is map. Damn it, filled again. Range lower bound. Also not. So useless. Really, I don't really need a range. I just need one. I just need a single reference. Any key will do, as long as it contains any set layout. Suppose I construct a vector. Now I'm just guessing. This is maybe not the way to do it because it feels a bit dirty. But suppose I just construct a vector. Okay, I should use the type that I defined. So I could call it sorted set layouts, but that's, well, hardly it. But okay, I'm going to call it. Let's call it like that. And then we put in it a single element, and that single element is our set layout. Yeah, set layout. So then we do make a copy. This reference. This contains copies. So we make a copy and we create a new vector with a single element containing this set layout. And then I'm creating a key from that, which is constructed from well, the key as the key. It must be a sorted set layouts container type, which I just made, as first argument, and the second one is a vector with push constant ranges, and I'll just use nothing, an empty vector. Yes, and then we're going to call upper or lower bound, I don't know yet. Let's say empty stuff feels like very low, so I'm gonna do lower bounds. What silliness are we going to get? It's not range anymore. Our lower bound is returning, and this is an iterator. And I call my iterators usually by a name that refers to the thing that they contain. So that is going to be the canonical. Oops. The canonical sorted set layouts thing. Now this is just nonsensical. Seems nonsensical because this key doesn't even exist. But it's going to return the first thing that is not less, right? So what does it mean for a vector with a single element, a set layout, and no push constant ranges in the vector, to be not less, sorry, to be, well, to get something back that is not less than this key. I think I'm going to need an example because it's hard to think about. Okay, let's make our famous ASCII art. Our keys exist of two vectors. So suppose I have a vector containing 3, they're unfortunately randomly ordered, I think. Well, randomly is not the right word, but something else. So I just switched to integers, and then the integers have an order, and I made up some integers and I put them in a random order. Well, this is not really random. This is going from high to low. So let's make this larger. Let's make this smaller and this larger. Well, the first was C, and then they based C++ on top of that. And C++ was meant to be an improvement. No, seriously, I told this story before, and if there's anything I cannot stand in life is people that repeat themselves and repeating things myself. And if I do that, then it's because my memory is degrading like fast. But I still have that personality trait. I just, a few streams ago, someone also asked this, and then I gave an answer. And then I'm like, yeah, if I answer it again, then I'm answering it 2 times. Who says I will not do anything else in life from here on out than answering this same question over and over? I just don't like it. But I'll do it one more time then. The story was that I offered to become the maintainer of some RC daemon branch, and they said no, because they were afraid that after I left, they would not be able to find a replacement C++ developer who would understand the code. They wanted to write the daemon in C out of fear not to be able to find good C++ programmers. So I think that is the difference. C is easier. You don't have to be as smart. Let's put it sarcastically, deliberately sarcastically like that. You don't have to be as smart to program in C. But, yeah, and therefore there are more programmers that write in C, and therefore, etc., etc. But if you want to write a program at a certain complexity, then like a Vulkan engine like I'm writing is a super. This one is super. Maybe there are simpler Vulkan. I'm sure there are simpler Vulkan engines, but this one is very complex. If you want to write something this complex, you absolutely need object orientation. And if then you are trying to do that in C, which is possible, you can write object oriented in C. It has not become any simpler whatsoever. You're just shooting yourself in the foot by using C in that case. So if you choose C, you should be coding very simple programs, not as complex as that you would otherwise write that you can write with C++. Now, if you find that you just don't understand C++ and it's just way above your level, then you could drive a cheaper car. But if you believe in yourself, and I wouldn't know why not, if you're even on this channel looking at this, I think that you must have it. You must be capable of learning C++, and then I think throw everything you have against it, because it's going to bring you much further in the end than C. Now, don't ask me about job opportunities. But will I be able to find a job as a mediocre C++ programmer? Because you're not a guru, or you're not too smart. I don't know. Maybe it's better to be a C programmer. No, and say, well, if you're talking about jobs and careers, neither. I think you have to be an AI expert or something like that for good jobs in the future in IT. And both C and C++ are a very low level then. Maybe they become even obsolete in 10 or 20 years. And AI will do all the programming. But, I would say that anyway. You have to start programming when you just start with it. One, you should be young, let's say a young teenager. And then secondly, obviously, you do that then as a hobby because you like it. Not because you think that you're going to get rich with it. You're not. If you want to get rich, you have to study economics and how to run companies, stuff like that. Well, I don't know. And now I'm going to continue coding. It feels like a dead end. This attempt feels definitely like a dead end. So this thing is using pair compare. And what I want is that I want an iterator that points back to a set out Where are we? A sorted set layouts container that contains at least one set layout that is equal to the one that we passed. How does set layout compare look like? Uses vector compare. On the vectors. And that begins looking at immutable sampler, so that definitely does not work then. This is not what I was looking for. Descriptor set layout binding. Wait a minute. Oh, set layout is... yeah. It only sorts on sorted bindings of the set layout. It doesn't even look at the set index hint. I don't even know set index hint. Dead end. Totally dead end. This is not it. Forget it. And still I want to return something, which is maybe not even possible, I realize now. Or no, it should be, because it was copied from where I think I can get it. No, I don't know, man. It feels, I don't know. It's not good. This is not good approach. I'm not going to use this. I'm rather making a copy. One of the reasons is that well, we're not even looking at the set index hint. So suppose I want to insert something with a different set index hint. We find the key, ignoring the set index hint, and then we use that. Okay, then I update the set index hint. That is true. Why is this so difficult? Maybe then I can approach it from the other side. Very maybe. And have another look at where this is inserted. And then see where it came from. And then maybe return an iterator to copy to where it came from. And then use that. If you understand what I mean. So this is, let me remove all of this. I think this is the only place where we insert this stuff. keyboard is dropping on the floor. Yes, almost. Why? I made my own computer table, and the keyboard is laying on the curtain rails. Basically, you can drive it back and forward, but sometimes it drops off the rails. Often, I must say. Then I have to put it back. Right. I really have to continue with coding, so I cannot answer all these questions. I'm using NeoVim. Yeah, so this is the point where we add a set layout to the pipeline layouts container, which I wanted to use because of the lifetime, possibly. And now I was going to look at where it came from. So after having inserted it, res is returning an iterator. Now this iterator points to the just inserted element being a pair of a key and a moved layout. So ignoring then the second argument of that pair, we have the key. The key is also a pair, and we can just look at the first element of that, and that then is a vector. And that vector exists of a few set layouts. And then one of those set layouts I need a reference to. Right. Well, the best I could do is return, I guess, a reference to that vector from this function. And that then would be a reference to a vector which is a copy of whatever is in this key. And this key is already a copy of realized descriptor set layouts as in the first argument of the pair, which is what is being passed. So we are passing a pointer to a sorted set layouts container, which is a vector of set layouts. And I could return, I could update it. I could make it a reference and update it, say. Then I can return a pointer to the canonical set layouts container. Yeah, so theoretically, we can use this function to turn those vectors into the canonical vectors with a longer lifetime. Which was called from here. And realize the script set layout is even a temporary here, but okay, it's a pointer. It's a pointer that was returned by a call to get realized descriptor set layouts. which returns yeah, a pointer that was added with this call here, add descriptor set layouts. Which is called from somewhere, I don't know anymore. Follow this more often. It's not in this file anyway. But I have to, okay, let's have a look. I think it's a part of the pipeline factory. So on that, the point is that the pipeline factories do not have a lifetime. That's long enough. But yeah, okay, so it gets copied here. I could use that. But then I have this copy and I need to pass it on. And why not? To handle shared resource creation requests. Maybe that is an idea. I don't know why I'm doing this. It feels dirty, and I'm sure that I'm the only one in the world that would do this. Everyone else would just make a copy. But I'm crazy. So put this pointer outside this scope here. And then I just assign it. Actually, why not? That does not need to be inside the scope anymore. Can just do it like this. Just move the line outside the scope. And then we are passing this pointer to this function, the realize pipeline layout. And now I'm going to pass it by pointer reference, so I will be able to change the pointer. And also have to change that then in the declaration of this function, realize pipeline layout. And we need to add a comment somewhere explaining why it is a reference. Could add it here, or this one does not have any comment yet. And here I already have a comment. No. Oh, sorry, this is not where I wanted to go. Jump here. Yeah, here we already have a huge comment. Which might or might not already be up to date. Any more up to date. There's maybe too much comment here. Let's add it in the header file. Um, So this sorted set layouts container is a vector, and the pointer would be usable for the lifetime of the logical device, because it points to an element of a map, which does not invalidate when you add or delete anything. But we want to have a reference to a member of this vector, and that in turn then will only be not invalidated when we don't change the vector. But since a vector is being used as a key in a map, well, it can't be changed. The key is even const, so the vector is going to be const. So it's very far-fetched, and I would almost say error-prone. But yeah, I just don't like make copies of stuff, and with enough comments and a smart enough C++ developer, it should work and keep working. So now this thing is, after this call, this thing is pointing to a canonical sorted set layouts container. And then I'm going to pass that as well to this function. Yeah, the letter. You want to know if I do something else than this? No, I'm not. That's why I do it 7 days a week, most of the day. No time for another job. Okay, I'm passing this to this thing now, and then we have to add that new argument to this function. Add it at the end. How did I call it? I don't know anymore. Control T. Set layouts. Okay. So like that. And also have to add it to the declaration. This function is handle shader resource creation requests. Right. This vulkan descriptor. This is a input data. Why? Why? I don't know, man. What the namespace are we in? If you ask me, we are namespace vulkan. No, we are namespace. Yeah, we are namespace vulkan pipeline. So vulkan is not really necessary below this point. I don't want to use namespaces when we are already in that namespace. Otherwise, I just not use the namespaces. Not often going to do a using namespace. But doing vulkan inside when we are already inside vulkan, that's kind of silly. We are even inside pipeline, so I can remove that as well. Hopefully that was correct. I think so. This is vulkan pipeline, this is vulkan pipeline, everything is vulkan pipeline. No, most definitely not. If you make your own engine, you'll never get to writing a game. It's more like what I'm writing is more like Unity. Say you could rather make a game using Unity than start to write Unity yourself, isn't it? Plus, I'm not writing Unity because I'm just one guy, and in order to write something as big as that, you really need a whole team. I'm bound to never write something that is actually going to be used because I'm just a single guy, unfortunately. So now I'm passing this thing to handle shader resource request to end up here. I have a sorted set layouts. And then now see here, we have an M sorted set descriptor, sorry, this is sorted descriptor set layouts. And what I just added was what? Half the same thing. Sorted set layouts. What the hell is the difference? Oh boy. Okay, I lost it. Sorted set layouts container. So vector of set layout. And what I'm using here is M sorted descriptor set layouts, which is also a sorted set layouts container. So sometimes I use set layouts because I'm storing set layouts, and somewhere else I'm using sorted descriptor set layouts. Now both would work because whenever I say set, I mean descriptor set. But here I wrote set layout because it's in the namespace descriptor. Maybe I should have named it the namespace descriptor set and then call this just layout. But I'm not going to say descriptor set : set layout, if you get what I mean. Anyway, there seems to be some confusion with the name, which confused me, so that's not good. I should rename one of them think I'm going to remove the descriptor because it's more like the set layout speaks for itself. That's really the class name. No need to repeat the descriptor part here, right? Yeah. Okay, so there's... Did I write everything? Probably not. Write everything. Grab project sources. I'm going to look for sorted. Descriptor set layouts. Just layout even. It's quite a lot. Wow. Okay, is there ever anything that is ending on anything else than an S? Also that. Wow. Well, that's realize. Or not. No, it's not. It is not. Layout bindings. That's what it is. I want to know if it's the end. So not an S, also not an underscore. Then we have nothing. Yeah, I'm currently definitely having a lot of compile errors, I think. But I'll worry about that when I get to compiling. Maybe I should keep the descriptor in it. Descriptor set layout spells what it is. The set layout came from the abbreviation because I did not want to repeat the descriptor because it was already in the namespace descriptor. But this isn't, so let's add a descriptor instead. And then maybe we also do not have as many. So how many of these do I have? Nothing. Yeah, well, I meant underscores, also nothing. S. See, that's less. So let's rename those to include descriptor. Descriptor set layouts with an S. We highlight it. And that's not what I was looking for. I was looking for sorted set layouts. Sorry. So this is sorted set layouts underscore container type, but I can still put a descriptor in front of it. Same thing, same thing, same thing. There's all the type, all the container type. They are all container type types. So over here, also, here's a name, but yeah, can do that as well then. So it's either a container type or just a name. Here we're in name, then container types, a name. Yep. Okay, so we can do SCD execute substitute that with the same thing globally, but then we do descriptor set and just in place and dwell on all the files that are, so I'll just list these files, I guess. Not possible. Okay, I'll just use PRS, prints all my product sources. And then I did replacements like this. This was replaced with this. This was replaced with this rather. Yeah, time to recompile, right? Let's see what happens. 112 files. Oh, I put something in the scope again. It doesn't like that. Cannot jump because you put something in the scope. VI, it's kind of strange because this isn't even in this case. I think I'm just going to add a scope here. And then we can add stuff again. No, there's a go-to. There's my go-to. Oh, like that. Okay. It is totally right. It is something that I cannot do. Yeah. This pointer here exists here, and then we fall through. So it still exists, here it's updated, it really exists now, and then this continues to exist and we fall through and we use it. But here is a return, and after that return it doesn't exist anymore. And then it's possible to re-enter this pipeline factory at this point. And then we pass a pointer that is uninitialized, so that is really wrong. I would almost say I used to go to the detected. So if you want to do that, I have to make it a member of, oops, I have to make it a member of the class. So at least it survives this leaving the function and coming back. I am going to call it a little bit different when it has to be part of the class. I want to stress that it is a pointer to the canonical vector. So I'm going to say substitute that thing, and I'm going to replace it with canonical So do I still want to add realized? Realized already gobbled up sorted. I might as well make canonical gobble up realized. Right? Canonical means that it is realized and sorted. Realized means that it is realized and sorted. And sorted means that it's just sorted. The why not approach. And Shall I add a pointer? I'm not a fan of adding something to the name of a variable that is just to show what the type is. But in this case, it's very essential. It is what is important is that it is a pointer to something with a long lifetime. So it's a canonical pointer. It's not a canonical descriptor set layouts. Maybe I should just swap canonical. Let's put canonical. Can make canonical pointer, blah blah blah. That doesn't work, but this does work. Canonical pointer. Descriptor set layouts canonical pointer. Well, happy is something else, but we are doing it. And there's an M missing here still. And then this one must be moved to the class. Wait a minute. What are we in now? In the state top multi loop while loop. That is here. The binding map is defined at the same time. It did not get a color. Why did it not get a color? Because it didn't add an M here. M underscore. And this thing is defined in logical device. And in flat create info and in shader input data. We have all of them, unless this is only 4 declared. No, it's not. Let's use shader input data. make. There it is, the answer to the universe, life and the rest. Well, it seems to compile. So now I have in this function I'm having a new thing here. It's a pointer. Probably should rename it. Why the hell is this called sorted? Okay, descriptor set layouts. Canonical pointer. Yeah, that is passed from logical device, right? We added it as the pointer was added to logical device, and we pass it now to this shader input data because well, it still exists. It still exists anyway, but yeah, it contains stuff that has a longer lifetime than the things that we were using. Sort of the descriptor set layouts begin. This is what I passed to the previous function, I think. I have to go back to the where this was called. Right. Now this one doesn't have a color. Why is that? I renamed something that should not be renamed, or what is it? I renamed something that should not have been renamed. It's not a good thing. But even so, I did it on all project files. Git diff, find the strange thing. Oh, that's a new one. It's not that I renamed something that I should not have renamed. Where did this come from? It came from this one. Get realized descriptor set layouts. Ancho, yeah, you found the best live stream on YouTube. I agree. get realized descriptor set layouts. This is really this is really nasty. Normally, this whole function is intended to do a merge. Or not. No, it's not. It's just returning this pointer, which was set here by a call to add descriptor set layouts, which is called from the user code of all things, with well, it's a reference turned into a pointer that was returned by sorted descriptor set layouts. Which is m sorted descriptor set layouts. So can you believe it? Can you believe this? So we have in the object shader input data, we have the container m sorted descriptor set layouts, which is returned. A reference to that is returned by the member function sorted descriptor set layouts, which is by the user code passed by the user code, but by the initialize function of a pipeline factory. Pointer thereof is then passed to add descriptor set layouts. Which stores it in the flat create info in this member here, which then is returned by get realized descriptor set layouts, which is called in this code. So here we get a pointer to the shader input data m sorted descriptor set layouts vector, very deep down, which we then pass to handle shader resource creation requests. And that is again the shader input data. Is it the same shader input data? If so, then whatever we passed here is now the canonical pointer to a copy of m sorted descriptor set layouts. And that seems so far-fetched. I mean, I don't know how to say it in English. We had to take such a detour through the code that is worthy of an assert, right? So I have the feeling that when I talk, nobody understands me, and then as soon as I type a comment in the code, then everyone is like, oh. So my feeling is that my comments are way more clear than what I'm saying. I don't know why that is. I guess I can just compare two vectors, and if they are copied, they are equal, or do I see this wrong? I mean, it must be a copy. So it's even the things that I don't care about in terms of the sorted. It is sorted. While ignoring it is sorted vector, but we are ignoring this value and this value. But since it's a copy, that even these values must be the same, unless of course the handle was initialized in the meantime, and or the set index was filled in. Yeah, that's probably the case. So I should ignore those. I think they must be equal, but really only when looking at... No, they must be really equal. They must be really equal, I think. Yeah. Well, I don't know. Let's just keep the assert in like this. And see what happens. And now I have this, but instead of using that, I'm going to use this. Specifically at this point here. Because they are equal, right? According to our assert, I can just replace one with the other. And then the thing that is returned is an iterator with a long lifetime. Finally we get there. All that work, just to get a set layout here that has an iterator to a set layout that has a long lifetime. And then therefore now I can just use that to store a reference. Now it would be sufficient to set the set layout. I can just store the iterator itself, I guess. Store the iterator to the canonical copy of the used set layouts in the shader resource that was bound to it, whatever, yeah. The only thing that's important here is that the set layout contains a set index hint that is equal for each shader resource in the same set layout. But since it's going to be the same set layout in the first place, that's going to be the case, right? I mean, this is really waving a chicken. Voodoo coding. What was the definition of voodoo coding again? So I think I read that once somewhere. You have code that black magic is code that nobody understands why it works except the developer at the time he wrote it. And voodoo coding is more like really nobody understands why it works. It works, but nobody understands why, including the developer. Something like that. Maybe I'm mistaken. You can look it up. So if this works, then even I will not understand why, but well, if it works, you know. I still need to write this set layout though. Let's add a set layout to the shader resource, which is, yeah, well, base, I suppose. This base, yes. Acquire log, set created. Let's do that like here in between. And we are passing an iterator to. It's an iterator. It's a const iterator. Might as well be a const iterator. Not going to change it. Probably should be a const. Not sure. It's a const iterator of some container, I think, type. Which container type was it? I think that was the sorted descriptor set layouts container. And that is defined in all kinds of stuff, but not here, I think. This is a .h file. Where do I get it from? We have nothing. Only set key. Which does not define it. Well, I'm not really feeling like including a random header just for type def. So maybe I should repeat the type def. Now, where did I save something? That didn't work. I just saved base. There, so let's find out where these things are defined. I have one here, logical device. I could include logical device, I think, without much trouble. But yeah, let's not do that. I'm just going to add it here as well. It's like the fourth place where I add it. Also private. I just need it. Oh, and then I still need the set layout. Did I not already need that here? Set layout. It's pretty dirty that I need set layout. Set layout. And set layout is not by any chance including set key. Nope. Layout binding compare do we have? That is not containing it. Oh wait, that was not the header, I think. That was the header. Then I have shade resource declaration context. That includes set key. As well as set index.h. And set binding map. That's dead end. But okay, we don't need a key anymore because that's included in set layout.h. I'm not convinced I got a vector already though. Maybe you should abandon the chat completely here on YouTube. I need some kind of a bot that kills it immediately. Getting really tired of it. Well, vulkan.hpp is including vector, no doubt. So I'll just leave it like this. I still think it's ridiculous that YouTube is not able to kill this bot. Why not? The very, very first channel they join, and even the chat name, the name they use is already... Why? How are they not able to do this? Makes me lose all trust in YouTube. Well, already didn't have any trust left after all the censoring that I do. But I guess they are forced by the powers in B with all the money in the world. No, it's not for. It's more like an Unreal Engine itself, but totally different. And now I'll lose this music. Okay. Non, je ne parle pas français. That must suck if you live in France and you never learned English, and then you discover internet. Oops. Well, every country that doesn't teach kids English. What did we just change? Undo, redo. Okay, I added the header. Let's try to compile it. Because I really forgot what I was doing. I blame the bots. Invalid operand to binary expression. Set layout cannot be compared with each other. I believe that. Yeah, programming. I mean, sorry for the touchy-feely, emotional people here. They were going to feel hurt now. But if you use common sense, programming is invented there, and they started using it, and it's just English. Period. I have refused to ever add even support for other languages. I think the world should grow up. But no, everyone wants to use their own language. No. So all programs have to support whatever. That's fine by me. You know, the user, the random user not knowing any English shouldn't stop them from using a computer, I guess, or stop programs at least. But if you are a programmer yourself, it's like trying to become a scientist without knowing English, which certain cultures do. Like there's loads of science. I studied physics, and then you have to read science books in German. And I bet that France is doing the same thing. If they publish an important article in about something scientific, they probably want to publish it in France. Or in French, I mean. But no, I think that it's pretty clear by now that the language of the world's science is English. And so is the language of programmers. Anyone who would write comments in non-English, and I know lots of them, people, they use variable names and function names in their own language instead of English. Disgusting, that's what it is, disgusting, pathetic. I would fire them on the spot if they would work for me and I had a company so I could fire someone. So yeah, pretty stupid of any country not to teach kids English. But that's just my opinion, I guess. Yeah, you know, politics does get in the way. I mean, at some point, it's just hurting your ego if you are forced to learn English. I can understand that. That is not helping humanity. That we have this kind of disputes between all kinds of cultures in the world. Okay, I have to fix this, man. Why is set layout is being compared at all? Because it's being used here. Because I'm comparing it. That's quite straightforward. Right, so I'm going to have an operator equal for all of that. And it's only going to be used while in debug mode. Let's make it a free function, friends, and then layout. Set layout 1, comma, set layout 2. You think the timeout is enough? Are they leaving this chat if you time them out? So you really need a permanent ban, I think. If you ask me, it's just these bots. They are they look like they are the same bot. They have the same name every time. I might write a YouTube bot just to report all of them. And flood YouTube with reports. So many reports that they get as sick of it as I am. And then finally we'll do something about it. Oh, I can just sue them. Because I bet that URL is trying to break in my computer. I don't believe one bit of it that is a genuine adult site. No fucking way. They're just after your money. Criminals. So each of these three must compare equal then, right? Yeah, I was planning to watch Discord and then I forgot. See what has been said here. Fortunately, almost nothing. And then we have a private message. Yeah. Nightbot. No, I have 72 likes. Hey, it compiled. Why? Why on earth did it compile? So annoying. I never know what to do. When something suddenly compiles, I make changes until I don't understand what I'm doing anymore, and then I think, well, let's start to compile, and then when that compiles, then yeah. Then I should just remember what I have been doing. I think I remember vaguely. I think it was like we were looking at handle. I was looking at this function here, or working on this function rather. That's where it is. This is being called, and we acquire logs. If you get all the logs and it works, if you get only some of the logs, you have a problem. And in order to fix that problem, I needed to add this set layout to the shader resource, which I now did. And I guess I should run it to see indeed if we are just crashing or some assert is now firing, which should not happen. Even though the bug is definitely not been fixed yet, because this is not doing anything. It's just calling set layout. The rest should be the same. So let's run it. Looks like the same as what it did before. So no asserts are firing. Well, in that case, okay, now I really have to think very, very, very deep again. Let me not look at the chat for a moment. What is going on here? Okay, so we have shader resources, and then you have to think about texture or uniform buffer. And when they are registered inside a member function of a certain pipeline factory. The user creates pipeline factories, plural, with each, it can give each a certain pipeline characteristic, and then inside the characteristic it can do stuff like saying I want this pipeline to have a few uniform buffers and a few textures. And just the fact that the user says I want to have a few uniform buffers, then means that those uniform buffers must be created. And but they might be used by multiple pipeline factories. So my engine, by means of the pipeline factories, only knows that these uniform buffers and textual things must be created through the pipeline factories, which more or less run independent. So we don't know which pipeline factory encounters these demands for the creation of certain shader resources first. But whoever is first, or all of them, call this function, handle shader resource creation request. So this function is going to be called multiple times, possibly, most possibly, and certainly in this test case, with a request to create shader resources, and then twice for the same shader resources. And then what we want is that the first time this is being called by some pipeline factory, that then it must really create shader resources, and the other pipeline factory must halt or become idle and until the shader resources are created. So I'll run over the code now from top to bottom to show more or less what it is doing. So we enter here, print that we entered it. I'm really using namespace here. Well, whoa. But inside a function, so it's not as drastic as in a whole file. Definitely not in a header file, of course. Begin with two asserts that are not very trivial, but probably correct. Hopefully correct. But I definitely want to keep the assert here because it is so far-fetched, some of these things. Well, certainly this one that I just added. And it's kind of likely that it breaks in the future. This is maybe some point in the future I make a certain change, and then this assert is breaking, and then I'm like, what? And then I read this, and it says that it should be a pointer to canonical copy of sorted descriptor set layout. So whatever I made the change that I made broke that, and I need to know that immediately, of course. Okay, now if there are no required shader resources to be created, then we are done and we return true, where true means that the other tasks that are waiting for us can run, or well, that nobody has to wait, rather. And it also means that, no, not really actually, it means the returning true means that everything has been created. So then this factory everything that had to be created has been created. So there's nothing to be created, we return true. And then this pipeline factory will continue with the work that normally only can be done after these shader resources have been created. Next, we're going to need something that determines which pipeline factory is going to do the creation, and that is I had a whole stream about that, maybe even two, and eventually I figured it out while I was sleeping, or no, not really, while I was laying in bed, and that is this algorithm. They even wrote a separate test program in one stream just to test this algorithm. So not going into that because it was not that trivial, but we just sort this list and then we run over it. Well, it's sorted by pointer value. This is kind of strange, but it's necessary. And then we try to get a lock on it. If any lock fails, we return false. If any lock fails, namely, then another pipeline factory has taken this lock. And because of the sort here, it's not possible that all pipelines return false. There will always exactly be one, assuming all shared resources are shared by at least two pipeline factories, then still there will always be one pipeline factory that manages to lock all its shader resources and never return false, and just victoriously end up at the end of this for loop. And all the shader resources that it managed to lock here are being stored in the required shader resources list. Acquired just means that we did get a lock. Also note that any pipeline factories that fail to get a lock here will automatically be waiting on the release of that lock. So they return to the thread pool, but they will be started again automatically once we free the locks, which happens at the end of this function. So we go down. You see here release all the task mutexes in reverse order, and the call to this release lock then wakes up the other tasks, the other pipeline factory tasks, which then will re-enter this function and, well, try again. So in that case, it is possible that they do this call on shader resource is created and then see that it already was created because another pipeline factory already created it below here. If that happens, we definitely do not want to add that shader resource to this list because, well, it was already created and we only add something to this list here when we want to create it ourselves. So on the second entry, it is possible that only some of the resources still need to be created, and some have already been created. And then the ones that were not created yet are now in this list, and we make it to the end of this for loop. Then this pipeline factory is responsible for creating those that are in this list. So how is it going to do that? I think this is the whole page, right? Below here we unlock, yep. Everything is on the screen now. That is being done after acquiring all the necessary locks. We get the pointer to the logical device, and then we get a vector of vulkan handles to the descriptor sets. Descriptor sets are being allocated here, which is dubious. Well, it's wrong even, so I have to fix this. The first time that we get here, nothing was created yet, right? So even if this is the first time that we get here, oh yeah, another note, I really try hard to do everything only in one place in the code. If you want to be a good coder, do that too. So if you see something like this, a call to allocate descriptor set, you can take poison on it that this is the only place where that is being called. Sounds silly, but it's a good thing. Otherwise, you know, things become very ugly very quickly. It's called code duplication and stuff like that. So this is like the only place where we allocate descriptor sets. And so the first pipeline factory that gets here obviously does not have any, there are no descriptor sets allocated yet because, well, per definition, this is the first pipeline factory that gets here. And then it allocates all the descriptor set that it needs based on this list of descriptor set layouts, which tells how the descriptor set must look like. It allows it to create it correctly from a given descriptor set pool also. Now, where do those layouts come from? They are being passed to this function, I think. No, they are not. No, they are made here. They are returned by a call to get the descriptor set layouts. And that's a member function of the shader input data object, which is kind of a garbage object which contains all kinds of data that we just need to do all of this. It's currently a member of the pipeline factory itself, but in the end it just contains everything that I didn't know where else to put it. So the shader input data that also contains an m-sorted descriptor set layouts thing that is we already saw it before today. That is just a vector with set layout objects, and those contain the information needed to create the set layout and the hint if what set we wanted to end up in, which is mainly that if two have the same value here, then we want them in the same set. And then eventually, once we create it, we want to get the handle inside of here, the created handle. So this handle is going to be created from this info. I don't think we have the handles yet because we didn't create anything yet. So currently it only has those that information. No, I've got again the name. What was it called? Yeah, descriptor set layout bindings. Vector of VK descriptor set layout bindings. It's the only thing that's initialized, I think, at the moment in this set layout object. And when we talk about sorted set layouts, we mean that it is sorted by this in itself also sorted vector. We are definitely ignoring these two when we are sorting set layouts. So this is called sorted. That means that this vector is sorted by that other vector that it contains. So you run over that. Now we do a translation from the set index hint that is being stored inside these objects using the set binding map that we got was passed to this function. So we get a real set index that it has to be put in. And then we use that real set index as index into the VHV descriptor set layouts, which then just gets the handles. Okay, so the handles are already filled in as well by the time we get to. Everything is actually already filled in because we use the set index and the handle as well. They're just not used to sort. So yeah, so basically this is just a copy of the handles in the set layout objects, but then ordered in the correct order, ordered by real set indexes. And if you pass that to this allocate descriptor sets thing, then you get a vector that is also ordered by real set index. So we pass in the layouts ordered by real set index, and we get out handles to descriptor sets ordered by real set index. And this M in front of it means that it is a member of the shader input data. So if then we call, okay, now I'm confused. I think it's just used later. This is needed to create a pipeline layout. So when we return from this function, so it does more than just create shader resources, then it also creates that vector. I want to go back to what this is called. So if this function is returning true, then we succeeded in creating all the shader resources, If it returns false, we have to wait. So if in that case we say wait and then return to the thread pool. And if then those logs are released, then this pipeline factory will run again and enter at this same point and then call that function again. But if we succeeded to create all the shader resources that we know about and that we need, then definitely missing this vector now. Where is it being used? Sitting in the dark again, damn it. Handle is calling. Upon success we fill this thing. Where the hell is that being used? It is used there, but it cannot be the only thing, is it? Update descriptor set. Otherwise it could be local if that was the only thing. It's not used here. Really strange. I think this is all commented out. I want to move as much code from the user to the engine, so all of this is in the process of being moved. So it's commented out. This used to be user code that you had to write, and now the engine is going to take care of it. That's the whole point. And then we have here the definition of it, or declaration, and a accessor. And assignment we just saw, and the point where I said, well, it might have been local. This is the only place where it is used. And we have another. We have two members with the same name and the same type even. The pipeline has it and the shader input data has it. And both have a oh right, yeah, I'm getting it. And both have an accessor. Here's an accessor and here's an accessor. And the pipeline is just creating it by initializing with when the constructor is being called. So it's probably arguments to the constructor. So I guess that that the pipeline will contain a copy of this thing the moment that it is created, and it's going to be using this accessor to do that. So I should look for the call to this accessor. Okay, so here it is. Eventually, here it is used here by passing it to the constructor of a pipeline. At the moment that the pipeline factory passes on a newly created pipeline to another task, which is going to take care of merging it with pipeline cache, and eventually making the pipeline pop up in the window class. So this is the point where the pipeline factory hands over the created pipeline to other code. And that includes this vulkan handle vector or descriptor sets, because it kind of belongs to the pipeline. We're going to have to bind these things right before we use a pipeline. So in a draw. I'm going to turn on the light because I'm sitting in the dark again. Also, I should eat. Yeah. I should eat more regularly. So I'm going to cook, I think. Make dinner. This is... let me look at Discord. I could make an FAQ on Discord also, maybe. Let me see. Yeah, so these this block here, it copies the handles of the descriptor set layouts to a local vector such that they are in the correct set index order. And then from that we allocate the actual descriptor sets using those layout handles. So we get a vector with descriptor set handles in the order of the set layouts. And that is needed at the moment we use the pipeline in a right before draw function. So I can jump to it, probably called draw frame. So when we are drawing to a certain pipeline, this frame resources count is probably not the best example. So another one, uniform buffers, draw frame, window. So this is in the render loop. At the moment you write to the command buffer. Just before draw, you bind the pipeline and you bind the descriptor sets. And then this having a certain pipeline, we need to get from the same pipeline I get the same vector with the descriptor sets. So this kind of belongs together. You just bind the pipeline and the descriptor sets. And I want that this vector then has to be in the order of the sets. So this is a vector, and then the first one refers to or belongs to set number 0, and the second one belongs to set number 1, etc. So that vector has to be created. And that is being done here. Now later, because this is the shader input data, later this vector is copied to the pipeline by the time we get to creating the pipeline. So it's just temporary storage here. And now the problem is, suppose we are a pipeline factory that runs into the fact that certain shader resources are already created. Then it might also be that certain descriptor sets are already allocated because another pipeline factory already got here. Now this, where we got this from is that is already cached. I think through the logical device. So we do not get duplicated descriptor set layout handles. We get the same handle for when the layout is the same. Let's verify this because I'm not 100% sure. Pretty sure though. So this is basically a copy of the descriptor set layout handle here, which is the elements of this thing here. And the M descriptor set layout is being filled. Not here. Oh, here it is. It's being filled in pushback descriptor set layout binding, which tries to find it in M sorted descriptor set layouts. That is a member of shader input data. What? Impossible. I think this is a fake placeback or not. No, it's placeback set index hint. Nope, renamed that one. Yeah, I don't know. This is where it is assigned, a new handle. So that is protected by a cache in the logical device. Okay. So we're not going to get duplicated handles. I mean, we're not going to get two different handles that are actually the same layout. So it is always safe to do this. Even if we are the second that comes here. And even if this would be a complete copy of the previous pipeline factory, then we will just get a vector here that consists of the same handles, and that is fine by me. But that's the handles of the layout. And here we are allocating descriptor sets using those handles. And then the question is that okay? Do we need different descriptor set handles if the layout is the same? And I think we do sometimes, but not always. I think the big difference is how you update the descriptor set. So I would call it bind, but they call it update. So these descriptor set handles. Let's have a look at the type again. It's a vector of descriptor set handles. Not a layout, just really the descriptor set. Hello, Red, huh? Yeah, it's starting to get close to fluting. Not because you think that C# is better than C++, you're completely entitled to that, but you're clearly also a troll that is fluting 1 line per second. I'm programming trying to program while I'm ignoring the pain in my stomach. I'm not sure if the pain in my stomach tells me that I have a maagsphere, but definitely means that I should eat something. Already said I was going to eat. Quiet shader resources list. Sometimes. Yeah, okay. So the point is that if we're going to use this descriptor set handle in exactly the same way by calling update descriptor set on it with the same binding and the same shader resource, and of course the same owning window, then I can also just use the old descriptor set handle and skip the binding. The question is how to figure that out. Not even sure if it makes sense to try to do this, because I'm not sure at all if it will make things any faster in the end by having less descriptor set handles. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe, you know, if you automate this into perfection, then maybe I'm putting 100 times more time into the code than is necessary. But the keyword here is being perfection. Then that makes that makes sure that in the case that it does make a difference, it's going to make a difference because we're going to be optimal. For example, we can skip binding descriptor sets all the time because they are already bound. So at this point, I'm doubting strongly that I should do this, especially because it's costing so much time, and I'm not even sure that it will gain me anything. So then often I think, well, it's easy, you know, I can do it in a short amount of time, and which then usually becomes 4 times longer. So I think I can do it in 1 day, and it's going to take 4 days. But yeah, it is also very hard for me to deliberately waste resources, waste memory, waste whatever. So if I can help it, I want to make a copy. Use a copy instead of make a duplicate. Temple 10. I have a lot of problems. I like smart people and I'm not making money for it now. I should eat, however, so I'm going to end the stream, and maybe you can join Discord to at least stay in touch if you want. At least I'm rounding up. I've literally been stuck on this for days now. Just cannot wrap my head around it. It is very, very difficult. Temple, yeah, but this is my life. It is my life. I think I have to sort everything by set index hint, keep them, collect them, and then try to match it to existing stuff, and then figure out which things I can reuse and which things are not compatible with what already exists, and then create those. And then we have to put together the stuff that that is being used later on, from both reused stuff and new stuff. And that is as difficult as it sounds. I really wish this function was finished. Okay, I'm stuck enough to say that it does not make any sense to keep staring at my monitor while I should eat. So I'm going to really stop the stream now, and then another day of failure. I'll probably be back later this evening. It's now 8 o'clock. I'll probably run away for this problem by trying to play some Risk, and then still come back afterwards. Yeah, so I think a Discord link is in the description, and I'm ending the stream.